Okay, it's really hot in here. Like I had to turn the fan off for sound, and it's really hot. Also, I'm drinking a Blue Mountain beer, a Blue Moon beer. So I'm sweating now. So hurry up, record this episode. So this is me, Kirk. This is Stop Watching The Office. And the topic of this, I literally just finished watching this movie, so I wanted to do a podcast while I was still on my head. And like I got home from work, I did some stuff, then I turned on Netflix, and the first thing that popped up, other than The Office, obviously. Also, they updated the Netflix app. I watch it. I have a TV that has the Roku built in. But they updated the way Netflix looks, the way you can search for stuff. There's like a little sidebar that you can change from like new and home and search. But the first thing that popped up was The Dark Knight. And I didn't realize this at first until I looked it up on IMDb after watching it. I wanted to see when it came out. 2008, this being 2018. It's the 10-year anniversary of it. I guess that's why it's on Netflix now. Because I heard a while ago that they're going to put it back in theaters for the 10-year anniversary. And I didn't realize at the time it was, 10 years this year. But it was on Netflix. I was like, I had to stop everything I'm doing and watch this movie again and watch all of it. Like, that movie is so amazing. Like, it's a long movie. I can't remember the running time. I don't have it in front of me, but it's a long movie. It's one of those movies that it could have been two movies. Like, the studios and whoever published it could have been like, we could have made this two movies, but it's so amazing. I just sat there and was just like glued to the TV watching every minute of it and just remembering how amazing that movie was. I like flashed back, like watching so many flashbacks. Like, I remember when it first came out, I bought tickets like that Friday. Like, I used to work down the street from this mall that had this huge movie theater in it. And I was like, as soon as I left, I had bought prepaid tickets. This is like before like the Fandango app. I bought tickets. I was like, I'm going to go see it. As soon as I left work, I drove down the street to the mall, Arundel Mills Mall in Maryland. And I saw it right after work. And I was like, just glued to the screen the whole time. Like, it was so amazing. I don't have it on like DVD or Blu-ray or anything. I had it like, I bought it on, it's like the one and only movie I bought on iTunes, but I haven't watched it in a while, in a couple years, and watching it again, it just reminded me how amazing this was. It brought back nostalgia of like, there's a couple scenes where it's like this really epic shot of like Batman standing there before he does something, and like amazing, like, orchestra music is playing. And I was like, I remember having a Batman costume as a kid one Halloween for some reason, like the old blue tint Batman costume. I remember dressing up as that. I don't know why I was reminded of that, but I was reminded, like, there's so many things with this movie. It's so great. It's one of those movies that is so good, and it was so powerful watching it that it's just like, I remember so much stuff about what was going on in 2008 and how I was feeling, and instantly came back with this movie. This movie is so much tied in to my life, and when I think about movies, especially like, the Joker and how amazing of a character that is. And I can't think of the actor's name that passed away, but how amazing job he did as Joker, and how amazing this story is, and just all the different plot lines. And just like, when you watch a movie like this again, the other thing that reminded me of this one, because I watched Jurassic Park again, because that's on Netflix too. Like, when you watch a movie again, a movie that's this size and there's so many big set pieces and action sequences, those stick in your head. But then when you watch it again, especially later, way later on, 10 years later, you forget about the dialogue and the minutia and the small plot points and the great things that are in this movie. I'm watching it again. I picked up on so many other things that I forgot about in this movie, like the small concepts that were driven home in this movie about heroism and giving up and sacrificing and all that stuff, and like just the great acting jobs. Like, there's a scene, like, I rewinded and watched a couple times that, like, what's going to happen. So smaller things that happen before you realize, oh, there's a lot of foreshadowing. There's a part where, spoilers of a 10-year-old movie, towards the end when the Joker's captured and he's sitting in that holding cell, and they called it the MCU. And another part of his crew gets thrown in a jail cell, and it's a bigger guy, and he's saying, "Oh, my stomach hurts and I'm in so much pain." There's a part where the Joker just is a 1 second part where he just looks up and like has a slight smile and like moves his eyes a certain way. And you remember later on, he inserts a bomb into the guy, and when he calls, he says, "I want my phone call," and he calls, and he blows up the MCU, and that's how he gets free towards the end. It was like that little smile. He was like, when the guy gets thrown in the cell with him, it was like, oh, like little stuff you forget about, and you re-see it and you rewatch and you realize, oh, there's so much small detail to this movie that makes it so amazing. Yeah, this movie's so good. Like, if you see it on Netflix, we'll just watch it. It's like I don't know if it's 3 hours long or whatever, but like there's so much to this movie I forgot about. Like all the small stuff with Commissioner Gordon, pretending to die so he could, keep his family safe. I forgot all about the whole thing with, and I literally just forgot her name, where she knew she was going to die, and Harvey Dent, like his girlfriend, when Batman had the option to go save either one, he said he was going to save her, but the Joker actually still tricked him so he can go save Harvey Dent. And that whole storyline of the Joker was trying to ruin the White Knight, which was Harvey Dent, and how and at the end Batman had a sacrifice. He had to, make the public perception that Harvey Dent was still a good person, even though he turned into Two-Face at the end and was seeking all this revenge. And he killed cops and he killed people and all that. And Batman took that on him, like the public perception that he did those things so Harvey Dent could stay the White Knight. Oh, this movie's so good. Literally, I clapped when it ended. I'm such a nerd. There are like few. I won't even nitpick about this movie because it's just as a whole, as a sequence of a whole movie, it's just still so good. I'm gonna ramble. I don't know. This beer is making me ramble on more. The only thing, like, I don't know why this part sits to me, is always like an oddball part, and it sticks out that it just didn't fit. The part where, like the accountant for the mob, when he goes to Hong Kong and he's trying to hide away in his building. And Batman goes to Hong Kong to bring him back. The part right before, like, the plane comes and, like, zip lines them out, like the Chinese detective that's staring at him with a gun, because Batman's basically holding the guy hostage. The way the guy's face looks, it's such bad acting. Like, he's, like, making this weird eye contact, and he keeps looking up because they can hear the plane coming over. I don't know why this sticks with me. That's just, like, one of the worst parts. But, the Joker was so good in this movie. That's such an amazing character. So much small details of how many plans on top of plans on top of plans he had. And even when he got caught, that was another plan to something else to happen. And then his speech at the end, he's like, when an immovable force, I can't remember it. But he's talking about, like, he kept pushing Batman to break his rules. But the Batman still wouldn't. He was like he gave himself so many times to kill the Joker, but the Batman still couldn't. But the Joker, like they said in the earlier, the Joker has no rules, and you'll never catch the Joker because you're stuck playing by the rules. And the Joker just played into that so well. Such a great villain. I don't know what else. Just watch that movie again. The movie's so good. It's weird that movie is really good because Batman Begins isn't that great. Like, I think when that came out, I didn't see it in theaters. I just like watched it on video, and I remembered it, but it didn't really resonate with me. And the one that came after it, I don't even know what it's called. The one with Bane, and that one just Bane was an alright character, but that one I really don't remember. And if it was on, I wouldn't even watched it on Netflix. It just, It was all right. Like this, when I saw this was on, I had to watch it. It's one of those movies like if it's on TV, you have to watch. If you see it pop up on Netflix, you have to watch. It's just one of those monumental movies, which is sad because it made me realize how much growing up I love the character as Batman. Like the Batman animated series, for the longest time, I felt like that was my definitive Batman. And the great thing about Batman, this is over a whole thing, but there's been so many renditions and different characters of Batman, from the original campy TV show with when they would punch and you see the words come up like "pow" and "Sam," the real campy, cartoony one with Adam West and Robin, that Batman, to the Batman movie with Michael Keaton, to all the different Batman movies that were all terrible with so many different characters. I know Val Kilmer played one. George Clooney played one. So many different characters. Like the Batman animated series, that was my definitive Batman. That was like growing up as a kid and watching that. It was amazingly done. It was like really dark and serious. Like even as a kid, like there was so many like sad, actual, like deep. The one that always sticks to me is the Clayface one, where it was an actor that tried to like stay young but then turned into Clayface, and it was just a really sad story. Even the Joker in that one is an amazing Joker. It's played by I can't remember. I'm getting to the point where I can't remember anyone's names, but Mark Hamill played that Joker, did that Joker voice. That's an amazing one. That's an amazing series. But there's been so many renditions of Batman that everybody has their Batman that resonates with them and they, hold on to. And for that animated series was mine. But this movie, directed by Christopher Nolan, is such a definitive Batman and Joker and just storyline that now you have the Batman that's in the Justice League, and that terrible Batman versus Superman movie. I don't think there'll ever be a Batman story like this for another while. It's going to have to go through terrible cycles. And just, there's going to be a couple different ones before another great one like this comes along. And maybe another 10 years, like how this is from 2008 to 2018. Who knows? But I love that there's so many different versions of Batman. And I don't even know if this is real or I just made it up in my head. But I remember it wasn't the animated series. It was one of these Batman cartoons where there was like an episode where, I don't know if this is a miniseries, a movie, or episode. I don't know what it was, but it's stuck in my head. I have to look it up, and I don't even know how to like type it in Google. But it was like these three kids. I think it was three kids, and they were like hiding somewhere. And they were telling the story about Batman, how each of them saw Batman. And each kid had a different version of Batman. Like, you don't know if they're making it up off the top of their head or they actually did it. But the way it was animated, each kid saw Batman a different way. So Batman looked different. One was like an actual monster. But it was so cool. I was like, but I love that there's so many different versions of Batman. And I love, there's a couple series where I think it was I think it was called like Batman Bold and the Beautiful, where there was like multiple versions of Batman. I love that. I wish there was a series where they just delved into that, where there's like multiple people playing Batman, and like there's like a multiple universe or multiple dimensions or something like that, where there are different versions of Batman. They have to work together or something. That'd be the best thing to do, because I can't even think of his name right now. Who's playing Batman? It's not going well for him. Like the Justice League one and the Batman versus Superman. This is a down period for Batman, the world's greatest detective. He's on a downturn. But that's the thing that sucks about the Dark Knight series, is that it's so good because Christopher Nolan did it, and you just had to write. Everything felt right. Since that isn't continue, you can't do that forever, and other people take it over, and it's on a downturn for me. So Batman isn't looking good, but this movie's so good. Go watch it, please. and then do like me, watch The Office right after. But that's it. That's enough rambling. It's getting hot in here. I need to turn this air back on. But thanks for listening to Stop Watching The Office, where I didn't watch The Office. Not initially, not right away. I had to take a pause for this amazing movie. But thanks for listening, guys. Go do something. Today's August the 1st. Summer's almost over. Thank God. But I was planning to do another episode because there's another show on Netflix I fell in love with and I want to talk about. But as soon as I saw this, I was like, I have to watch it and do an episode. But I'm going to work on that next episode. But thanks for listening to this, guys. Enjoy the rest of summer. Peace.